It was a quiet evening in Enfield, North London, in August 1977. Single mother Peggy Hodgson was putting her 4 children to bed in their modest council house. Everything seemed perfectly ordinary, until Janet, her 11-year-old daughter, complained that her bed was shaking. Peggy brushed it off as imagination. But that night, the strange noises began, and they would never stop. The next evening, strange sounds returned, loud knocking, scratching, and furniture shifting across the floor on its own. Peggy rushed into the room to find a chest of drawers sliding away from the wall. When she tried to push it back, it felt as if something invisible was holding it in place. That's when she realized, something unseen was inside the house, and it was strong. The following nights brought chaos. Toys were flung across the room by invisible hands. Loud bangs echoed through the walls. The children screamed as their beds shook violently. Janet, in particular, seemed to be the target. Her body was lifted from the mattress and thrown to the floor. Peggy, terrified and helpless, called the police, but even they would witness what defied explanation. When the police arrived, they were skeptical, until one officer witnessed a chair slide across the floor untouched. She inspected it for wires, tricks, nothing. In her official report, she wrote that the chair moved of its own accord. But the family's relief was short-lived. The police couldn't help them. Whatever was haunting the house wasn't criminal, it was something else entirely. Desperate and with nowhere else to turn, Peggy reached out to the press. The Daily Mirror sent a reporter and a photographer, both expecting a hoax. But they didn't laugh for long. As soon as they entered the house, a Lego brick flew through the air and struck the photographer above the eye. Objects continued to fly. They left the house shaken, and with a story that gripped the nation. News of the haunting reached the Society for Psychical Research. Soon, 2 investigators arrived, Maurice Gross and Guy Lyon Playfair. They set up equipment, prepared for tricks. But what they recorded was anything but ordinary. Tapping sounds, strange voices, cold drafts, and then Janet began speaking in a growling, male voice that claimed to be a man named Bill. They were witnessing something far more sinister than a child's prank. Janet's voice changed, deep, gravelly, and angry. She claimed to be Bill Wilkins, a 72-year-old man who had died in the house years earlier. He described choking in his chair and dying in the living room. When the investigators researched it, they were stunned. A man named Bill Wilkins had indeed died there, just as the voice said. But how could a child know such specific details? To rule out trickery, the investigators placed Janet under constant surveillance. They locked off rooms, used motion sensors, and set up cameras. Yet, objects still moved, and Janet was seen levitating, even twisting midair into impossible positions. On one occasion, she was thrown clear across her bedroom. The cameras captured chilling moments, but never the force behind them. As the haunting intensified, the house grew unnaturally cold, breath visible in the air, even with the heat on. Whispers filled the rooms, echoing with no source. Voices spoke in different tones and accents, often overlapping. One night, the investigators heard a man singing a nursery rhyme from inside the walls. The Hodgson family couldn't sleep, because the moment silence came, something would speak. The supernatural violence escalated. The family was not just frightened, but physically harmed. Janet was slapped, scratched, and thrown across the room by invisible hands. Her younger brother experienced hair being pulled. Peggy herself was pushed down the stairs. The haunting wasn't a game, it was a brutal assault from a malevolent force determined to break them. As media attention grew, so did skepticism. Some experts accused the girls, especially Janet, of faking the events for attention. A few incidents were proven staged. But investigators insisted those moments were rare and didn't explain the hundreds of hours of strange activity witnessed firsthand. The line between truth and trickery blurred, but one thing was clear: something terrifying still lingered in that home. Even when the cameras were gone and the skeptics had their say, the activity continued. The family reported strange voices late into the night, objects vanishing, and icy cold spots in the hallways. Janet was even sent to a psychiatric hospital for testing. Nothing was found. But when she returned home, the attacks began again, stronger than ever. The house wasn't just haunted, it was watching. A psychic medium was brought in to confront the entity. As soon as she entered the home, she claimed to sense multiple spirits, one of them violent, angry, and deeply rooted in the house's history. During the session, the lights flickered, furniture shook, and a deafening bang echoed through the floorboards. The medium warned the Hodgsons, "You're not dealing with just one ghost. You're dealing with something darker." By 1979, the activity began to subside. The voices stopped, the furniture settled, and the cold air lifted. Janet was now older, and the chaos seemed to quiet. But even years later, the family claimed the house still felt off. Visitors reported strange feelings, and Janet herself said, "It never really left." The Enfield home may have looked ordinary, but it still carried the weight of something unseen. The Enfield Poltergeist case remains one of the most documented hauntings in history. Over 30 witnesses, including police, journalists, and investigators, reported supernatural events they couldn't explain. Whether you believe it was a hoax, possession, or pure evil, the story still haunts paranormal researchers today. And for the Hodgsons, Enfield was never just home. It was a battleground between the living and the dead. Thank you for watching this chilling journey into one of the most famous hauntings ever recorded, the Enfield Poltergeist. Whether you believe it or not, the echoes of what happened in that house still raise questions no one can answer. If you're drawn to the unexplained, the terrifying, and the true, subscribe to Only True Horror for more real stories that will keep you up at night. The darkness is waiting. Are you ready?